It's past time to expose the Democrats and Republicans for usurping liberty and freedom. What you are about to hear is the amalgam of passion and truth. This is the Southern Liberty Radio Show. Good evening, Liberty Defenders of the World. Welcome to this episode of, excuse me a minute, of Southern Liberty. I am your host with the most, Mr. Roderick Threets. And we've been here. We've been in this space before. We have been in this space where there's crossroads being made. I want y'all to understand this. There is a evil undertone that is taking over our country little by little. And they're doing it in multiple different ways. They're doing this in a way that subverts everything we know. If y'all can hear me in the chat, go ahead and place a 1 in the chat. I'd greatly appreciate it. Excellent. You probably can't see me right now because there's some other things going on here, but we're going to get it together. And you should actually see my lovely face now. But we have a country to save. It's now or never at this point. We have a country to save. And before we get completely started and into this, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here. And we're going to talk about something I wrote earlier, the mandate for election integrity. Because this seems to be two holdups here. This is the bigger one. The one with Homeland Security is a whole other story. We can address that in a bit. But I want to first and foremost say to my friends and fellow living men of the land and members of the nation, the sacred pillar of our republic is the integrity of our elections. For a constitutional republic to function, the people, in conjunction with the states, must have absolute confidence that the voices are heard and that the process is fair. But for too long, a simple, common sense question has always been left with a incomplete answer. How do we ensure that only American citizens or U.S. nationals are the ones deciding America's future? Now, I can go into this multiple ways, but I'm going to hold off on that a second till the end. So y'all hold on to your panty liners and all that. But anyway, all jokes. I'm sorry, guys, all jokes. But seriously, right? Because we have to talk about the current vulnerability in the system, right? Because right now, right, the system relies largely on an honor system, right? And again, right, our founder said, the Constitution of the Republic is, basically for immoral people, right? Honor system. Hey, people do the right thing, but we have so much evil in our country right now. No one is willing to do the right thing, even at the price of their own demise. Now, while federal law correctly states that only citizens can vote in federal elections, the enforcement of that law is dangerously inconsistent. Now, in many states, all it takes to register is checking a box on a form. No proof, no verification, just a signature, right? We require photo ID to board a plane, to pick up prescriptions, or even get a library card. Okay, so why on earth would we require less to protect the leadership of the free world? To allow any ambiguity in our voter rolls is to invite doubt, and doubt is the enemy of a stable nation, right? Now, the SAVE Act is straightforward, people. All right, it requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, like a birth certificate or a passport, when they register to vote. It also mandates that state remove non-citizens, from their existing voter rolls. This isn't about making it harder to vote. It's about making it impossible to cheat. It's about ensuring that when you cast your ballot, its power isn't diluted by someone who doesn't have the legal right to be in that booth, right? By standardizing these requirements, we bring transparency and security to a system that has become a patchwork of different rules and loopholes. What we, the American citizens and the U.S. nationals, have set a clear mandate on Congress. We are tired of the bullshit. We're tired of the excuses. We're tired of the cheating. We are tired of being told that voter fraud is rare as a reason to do nothing, you lazy twits. If even one illegal vote is cast, it's an affront to every single citizen. Congress has the constitutional duty to oversee the times, places, and manner of holding elections. Passing the SAVE Act is the fulfillment of that duty. This is about proactive security, not reactive investigation or constant committee hearings and constant bickering back and forth between the parties. Fuck both of you. Because the American people are tired of waiting for a crisis to happen to go beat the drums in the streets or go fight with your political opponents over something that could have been easily secured. We have to fix the issue because we value what it is, and it's the sanctity of the republic. Now, the critics of this bill will tell you that this is burdensome and women that change their name for getting married purposes are going to be disenfranchised. Shut the clean up. Just shut up. I do not know a responsible adult that does not know where their birth certificate is, and if they don't, how to get it. I don't know a single one. So to prop up women as propaganda and a scapegoat to not pass the act, you are a disingenuous, and I would actually say a misogynistic fool. to think women are inadequate enough to settle their own adult affairs. Now, the other part they won't tell you is that if you have been voting under your married name, unless you move, you're fine. You don't need that documentation. But you know what else they don't tell you? You know what else they don't tell you? In the SAVE Act, the state has the discretion to have you sign an affidavit affirming your citizenship under the threat of perjury. They don't tell you that part. Because yes, there's some instances some people can't get to their birth certificate. So you sign an affidavit saying, yes, I'm a US citizen. That comes at federal jail time. See, they don't want to tell you. They just want to prey on women the same way they prey on black people and minorities in this country. The same plot and prey, right? And I loved it when Chuck Schumer said, this is Jim Crow 2.0. Well, yeah, coming from your side, it is 100% because you're telling women they ain't shit. They don't know shit and don't know how to do shit. That is the most sexist, misogynistic, and racist bullshit I've ever heard in my life. And yes, people who have legally immigrated into the United States do have to carry their papers of citizenship. They most certainly do. And the same thing with the Social Security card. You don't have to change your name on a Social Security card. You don't have to. Your married name is an addendum. It is not. It's theoretically you can use it as your legal name. But at the end of the day, everything is tethered to your maiden name. Everything. People think folk out here stupid. These politicians think people are stupid. You hear what I'm saying? They think we are stupid. They think we all have 940 SATs. Some of us got 970s. I ask y'all, is it a burden to prove you belong to the greatest nation on earth? Is it a burden to show a document that most of us already use for every other major life event, like getting married, like getting a driver's license? The real burden is placed on the legal voter who stays home because they no longer trust that the system is secure. The real burden is on the candidate who loses because of a flawed process. The real burden is the nation of people losing confidence in their elections, and the country itself goes into turmoil and spirals out of control because of people being disingenuous. The SAVE Act protects the franchise for everyone. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, all alike. Because at the end of the day, election integrity isn't a partisan issue. It's a national security issue. And here we stand at the crossroads. We can continue to check the box, right? And keep perpetuating that system that leaves our flank exposed. Or we can take the bold necessary steps to secure our elections for generations to come. Congress, I ask you, you must pass the SAVE Act tonight. If you don't get it tonight, it needs to be done tomorrow. Because this is the flag that goes up the flagpole. This is the signal to the world that the United States, right? In the United States, your vote is your voice. And we will protect that voice with everything we have. So let's restore trust and integrity and security and save our elections. Now, the other piece of that, I'm going to go here. If you are not, if the president of the United States has to be a natural born citizen, if the president of the United States has to be a natural born citizen, I think every U.S. senator and every House representative needs to be a naturalized, a natural born citizen. Period. Some people don't like that idea. Some people can't fathom that idea. Every U.S. senator and every single U.S. House representative should be a natural born citizen, because the people that are coming into this country, and no, and I'm not sleight of hand to people that come here and really love our country, they have assimilated and all of that, but there's an existential threat that's behind you that we need to curb, right? If you are a naturalized citizen, you need to be a naturalized citizen for 10 years. I would even do 5 years. You need to be a naturalized citizen for 5 to 10 years. I think 10 years is a good threshold, right? So you understand the American way of life. Because you come to every other countries and they're running for office, we see these people like the Jaya Powells and all these people in Congress that were not, that don't hold our values and have immigrated from other countries. No, what you did in your country, obviously you didn't like because you came here. Don't bring your bullshit here. Don't bring your anti-liberty rhetoric here, your status bullshit here. You should be at least 5 to 10 years a naturalized citizen before you run for federal office. I don't care what you do at the local level. Local level can handle that. State level can handle that. But to sit in Washington, D.C., to call yourself a congressman or a woman or a senator, you need to be a natural born citizen or a naturalized citizen of 10 years. That's that. That's that, period. Because we've lost our way. Yeah, really, really, really lost our way. So we're gonna segue into the actual show. We won't be here too much longer because there's really obviously not much going on, right? So I hope you got a completely full tank of gas, because if you don't, you might need a second mortgage to get one by Monday if we keep going the way we're going, right? Because um we are 3 weeks into Operation Epic Fury, right? And the Secretary of War and General Dan Kane just confirmed we just dropped a 5,000-pound bunker buster on Iranian missile sites, and they're calling it a success. But the success, unfortunately, is costing us at Chevron, at the Shell, at the racetrack, at the Circle K, at the Murphy, right, at the BJ's, right? Because the global market is saying, well, we're going to jack up the price of Brent crude, sweet crude, all kinds of crude. We're going to jack up the price. And guess what? We're looking at $4 gas prices in a lot of places. In California, y'all need to take a whole ass seat and talk about Donald Trump, our gas prices are $6. Well, if you didn't have a $1.24 of complete taxes from state to federal excise, well, federal excise tax is only 18.4 cents a gallon, but California, you're looking at almost 63 cents a gallon in state excise tax on fuel, plus a carbon tax and all that. No, you got $1.24 in taxes alone on your fuel. Don't talk about, oh, Donald Trump. No, you got $1.24 in taxes just on a gallon of fuel. for most of us, that is half of what our gas prices were before the war, and you have it all in taxes. Y'all need to take a whole seat and shut up about gas prices. Now, with that being said, right now that the Straits of Hormuz is a no go zone, 20% of the world's oil is now trapped, even though we don't benefit from it, right? But that's another that's another flip. Now, something that Donald Trump did today that Congress should have done a long time ago, but Trump was able to do it by executive order or temporary basis. He issued a 60-day waiver of the Jones Act. Now, people, you've heard of the Jones Act, but you don't know what it is, and I'll really simplify it real quick, right? The Jones Act basically, you can't, Puerto Rico can't send and receive goods from foreign countries. It has to come to a United States port first, dropped off in the United States, transports it to Puerto Rico, basically, right? So with that, so basically, it's our own domestic shipping can't move Gulf Coast oil to our East Coast bases fast enough to keep the war machine humming. So we need to send it to Puerto Rico and then go out, et cetera. It's a long mess. We won't go there, right? So think about this a minute, right? Because where we're told this is about American sovereignty, right? And I'm gonna take a slight turn on you just to pique your liberty brain a second, right? But when we have to waive, right, our own laws like the Jones Act to let foreign ships move Texas oil just to keep the lights on in DC, you have to wonder who's really in charge. I want y'all to think about that a second. I want you to really think about that. If we have to circumvent and change and lower our own laws to allow foreign ships to move oil from Houston, right? Just to keep our lights on. Who really has us by the nutsack, right? Just something to think about. Now, Marsha Blackburn, this affects us as Floridians too. So those of us that are Floridians, I want you to listen up, though, right? Because what Marsha Blackburn has done is set up another states' rights showdown, and I'll get to that part in a second. But Senator Marsha Blackburn, right? She's a senator from Tennessee, dropped a 291-page gift on the Senate floor this week, right? It's called a Trump America AI Act, right? Now, let's keep it real. You know, we keep it real here on Southern Liberty because we're about liberty before everything else, right? This act isn't just about AI or tech, it's about preemption on the states, right? Because the federal government wants to be the one rule book for all AI, right? The federal government wants to control the commerce of AI when it's up to the states to control that, right? Because now, don't get me wrong, I've caught part of it, right? And part of this bill, actually, I should bring it up on screen, huh? Let me see if I can bring it up on screen just so you can see what I'm talking about here, so you get an understanding of. Okay. I mean, I'm not, obviously we're not going to be able to read the whole bill. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that. Let's go back here. Okay, maybe I can find it. Let's go here. There we go. Let's go here. All right, so let me pull it up over here. No, this bill has to do with AI. Um, Give me a picture in picture. You got a new interface here, so I'm kind of getting used to the new interface here. I kind of like this. So this is the whole deal here, right? Um, Part of um this Trump America AI Act, right, would protect the four C's. She says, right, creators, conservatives, and communities. Okay, I get it, but it should be all people, not just conservatives. From exploitation, abuse, and censorship, and ensure American AI companies can innovate, blah, 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 blah. So let's go over a couple of tenets real quick, right? Protecting children at places. I might need to make that a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. That might look great. Let me see if it'll. Oh, it moves me to the side. Nice. I like that. It moves me to the side. Can I make it? No, so I need to make it bigger on this screen. There we go. Perfect. So for the protecting children piece, it places a duty of care on AI developers in design, development, and operation of AI platforms and prevent and mitigate foreseeable harm to others. Um, Also, in that, right, there are to require AI platforms to conduct regular risk assessments of how algorithmic systems engage mechanics. The one part that we were asking for back when we were all, especially me, when I was being censored real hardcore on social media, to reform to Section 230. So basically, this abolishes, for the most part, Section 230, right? So how we look at the internet now changes literally overnight, right? The platforms at that point will be legally liable for every single thing a user posts, right? I mean, I want y'all to think about that, right? All these liberals and these left leaning platforms that post so much slanderous stuff on their websites about my MAGA friends, my conservative friends, even some of my libertarian friends, right? Or even their own people, right? These platforms will be held liable for that type of stuff being on their platform. So you're going to see more and more people being banned for things of that nature, right? It's literally scorched earth, right, against big tech. And some smaller creators might get caught in a crossfire. We just have to reinstate that on a case by case basis, right? But it also codifies the president's executive order to ban what he called woke AI. Let me see if I can find that here. It should be right here. Yeah, the executive order. This executive order right here. This is what they had called the woke AI. Let's get that off the screen. I love you, Trump, but we got to keep you off the screen because we're educating around here. So you have no place on that screen right now, brother. But this is what part of that AI bill that Marsha Blackburn has um, would codify um, into law. Right now, here's the flip side of that. Oh boy, here's the flip side of that. Let me see if I can get that. If I could pull that up real quick.